Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 5 here of Flashpoint Racing League. It feels like an age since we were racing last time out in Abu Dhabi. Of course, a brilliant championship decider, and it was NSX who took the crown then. But it's a new season, new drivers, new people wanting to fight it out for the championship, and you are joined by me today, Oxide Nova, here to take you through every single race this season. As you can see, quite a few new drivers with us this time out. Of course, got quite a lot of people who are very, very quick, as we've got some of the drivers coming out of the pit lane now. Let's just get everything on ready to go. Of course, we're here in Melbourne, where most of the seasons usually started in Formula 1, of course, until Bahrain took over first in 2010, and then, of course, taking over once more a few years ago in 2021. So, as we see, some of the drivers coming out now. Gatkowski in the Mercedes, and of course we've got Lars here as well in the Williams car. So exciting times. Of course, a new circuit in Australia changed for when it came back to the calendar in 2022. Of course, no more chicane in the middle of part of the lap where we're coming up to now with Lars, and you can see now he's maxing out in third gear, trying to burn some fuel, no doubt. But at the moment, he is the man who's going to be setting a lap first. So we'll definitely ride on board with him when he gets towards the end and see what he can do in that Williams car. But for anyone who's just joining us and doesn't quite know what's going on with this season, of course, we have new calendar, new drivers, and new people looking out for that championship. So let's go through what the Season 5 calendar is looking at. So slightly different this time around. Of course, we've got Melbourne here, we've got Imola after this in next week, and then of course the home of motorsport, Silverstone, third race of the season, then Portimao, great track to race on, followed by Austin, Austria as well, Monza, and then of course the Monaco Grand Prix, how could that be forgotten, and then the Mexico City circuit, then Paul Ricard, of course, not been on the calendar for a few years now, but it's back on board here in Flashpoint, followed by Suzuka, real drivers circuit, then Shanghai, the Losail circuit, Jeddah, and of course ending the season in Abu Dhabi. So let's ride on board now with Lars, see what he can do going into turn 1. Misses the apex ever so slightly, but with that said, he didn't lose too much speed, so he opens up the DRS now. Let's see what he is able to do as he go into what part of the track that has been widened slightly compared to the old circuit, but more easy to get a bit of wheel spin out of there now. But of course he rides the curves well. This corner, a bit of a no corner here, full throttle, don't need to worry about that one. As you can see, he's chucking through there now. This corner is so much quicker than it used to be. Got a car in front of us, hopefully doesn't get in the way. So nice to chuck that in, gets a bit of the curb on the inside, doesn't seem to unsettle the car, so that's absolutely fine. Will he get a bit of slipstream from his car in front? I think it actually might be his teammate. Yes, it is. Getting a good bit of slipstream there. Some great teamwork going through here for the Williams driver. So brilliant to see out between NLR Lars and of course CPI Mick as well. Chuck it into the quick 9 and 10 section now. What can he do? Oh, it seems to be nice and smooth for him as he opens up the third DRS straight of the circuit. Coming into the final few corners now. Let's hope that these Alfa Romeos do get out of the way. He loses the rear end a little bit there. Oh, but he keeps it just about. The Red Bull and Alfa get out of the way. Chucks it into this long right-handed corner now. Fifth gear up to sixth once more. Back down into the Mickey Mouse section here. Third gear as we got a yellow flag in the final set. I think that's Picard's slowing down. Comes around the final corner though. Opens the DRS now. Chucks it towards the line. What's it going to be? The first man to come over the line now and see what he can do. It's a 1:16.9. Good initial time from him there. Igor on an outlap now as well. Let's see what Gatkowski's doing. The next man who was setting a time. As you can see, the car much more settled there in the Mercedes-Benz. Chucks it into that right-handed corner now. Let's see what he can do into the final few corners now. A man, of course, who almost pushed for the title last time out. Couldn't quite get there, of course. He wants to mend that this time out. Opens up that DRS. Guns it towards the line. Can he beat that 16.9 from the Williams driver? Yes, he can. 16.2 straight away, beating that time by 7/10 of a second. Brilliant time from him. As we've got a few other drivers on laps as well. Of course, we've got Mick in the other Williams car, hopefully for his sake getting a bit of a slipstream, as we've got Vaporizer coming around the final corner as well. Let's see what he can do in that Haas car. Vaporizer, a great driver, comes across the line, 16.5, gets it up there, P2, only a few tenths off the pole time, so from him definitely looking in the mix. But Zorzo as well, and Michelle coming through. CPI Michelle there. Let's see what some of the drivers do. Talisman still in the pits as well. Kingsman about to start his lap. And then we've got this sister Red Bull who's actually invalidated his time now, so he's not going to be happy with that one. Let's see what Mick's going to do though as he comes around the final few corners now. He's in fifth gear there like his teammate did into this third gear corner. Most of the drivers are using third gear there. So I think that must be the meta going through there. Now you can see the Red Bull helmet for him as well. Opens up that DRS, potentially gets a little bit of a slipstream from the car in front, which I think was the Alfa Romeo of Luke. Comes across the line now to 17 flat though, just behind his teammate. Oh, as we get a bit, oh, was that, yes, it's Eagle spinning, oh, and he almost hits his teammate. That was not something I expected to see. I had to go back to it, actually, to be fair, because I didn't think that you'd see that from Igor. But Igor, thankfully for him, didn't hit his teammate. Well, that would have been a horrible debrief for Toto to do there. But thankfully for his sake, not into the wall. A bit of egg on his face, but thankfully for him, nothing to worry about. And he will be able to come out and do another lap. Zorzo coming across the line now. So what can he do? 16.7. Good time in the end, getting him to P3. What about Michelle here? In the sister Aston Martin? No, he's invalidated his time. Will he come into the pit lane, or is he going to do another one? He's going to do another lap. Talisba coming out of the pits now as well on his out lap. Kingsman, let's see what he can do. Runs it wide there and somehow did not get an invalidation. That is very surprising, because usually getting invalidation for going a pixel off the track, that was an entire car length, it looked like. Comes across the line though. I don't think he'll have done too good of a time because of that. It's an 18.3, yeah. Last of the times we've got so far, of course. He will be expecting a better time later on. What about Michelle though? He's starting his lap now. Going around the long right-handed corner now. I think we do have Twist as well about to come to the end of his lap as well. So let's see what he's doing in the AlphaTauri. No, he's actually invalidated his time, so that's not good for him. What about Luke in the Alfa Romeo? No, he's lost his time as well. Must have made a mistake. So, riding on board Michelle here. Let's see what he can do. Coming through now. It seems to be very stable in that Aston Martin. It said purple middle sector there, so potentially could be on form for getting towards the top of this grid now. Loses a bit of time there in the braking section. Got a yellow flag, that won't slow him down. Thankfully, he's got his teammate ahead of him. Don't think that'll be a problem. Of course, misses the apex there. Comes into this third gear corner now. All the drivers choosing that. And he used a very, very tight line out of there. I think it's because he wants a better exit here. Opens the DRS. Can he get anywhere towards the top as he comes towards line 9? It's a 16.2 he's aiming for. Can't quite do it. It's a 16.9. Put him in P5 for the moment. And then instantly gets out of the way of the Alfa Romeo in the background, which I think was Talisman. Yes, it was. Let's see what the man in the Alfa Romeo can do as Dirk joins us, thankfully. So hopefully he can get in the lobby as well. At the moment, it's a 16.2 from Gatkowski, of course. A man, like I said, last time out, didn't quite get the title. He was a bit few and far between with his performances, but he'll definitely be looking to change that this time around, will Gatkowski. Talisba, though, coming through the first sector now, 26.5. Not quite on par with the times that he needs, and of course, he will be looking to get somewhere within the top 5 of the grid, of course. We do know that qualifying isn't everything, of course, in league racing, but it is very much important either way. So as he chucks it into turns 9 and 10 now, it's 44.1 in the middle sector. Let's see what he can do as he opens up the DRS for the third time in this lap. Coming towards the slow right-handed corner now, of course, much more squared off this corner compared to previous years. So there's more opportunities for overtaking. Chucks it into the right-handed corner now. And then, of course, into this slow section here in that third gear. Still able to hold the car and still able to push the limits. Opens up that DRS. Still looks like he's left a bit on the table though, but as he comes towards the line now, what time is it going to be? It's a 16.8. He gets him in that top 5, actually 4th place at the moment, just ahead of Frankis in the Alpine. Good lap in the end from him. We've got a McLaren on the lap as well. I think it's Walcott. Yes, it is. What can he do? 44.6. Not too far off the pace for himself as well, actually, as he chucks it into these final few corners. What can he do? Final few corners now. Opens up that DRS as he comes towards the line now. It's a 17.7, so not the best time for him. But we've still got quite a lot of drivers as well to do a lap time at the moment. Carl as well, he's invalidated his time, but thankfully he is in the lobby, of course, joined in slightly later, but he is here to do qualifying with us, as is Dirk as well. Great to see. So we've got a few more times coming through, I'm sure. We're still in the garage as well. So quite a lot of drivers still to get a time on the board, of course. Some of them invalidated and so on. They are taking the time with it, though. They do understand, of course, that there's quite a bit of time left in this qualifying session. Not sure how much is left, of course. We've got the yellow flag. 8 minutes and 30 seconds remain at the moment. A man, of course, who will definitely be looking to see would be Igor as well. See what lap time he can do, as he's, I'm sure, about to come out the pits any time soon. OJ starting his lap as well in the Ferrari. Let's see what he can do. Brakes down into the right-handed turn here, and then of course this part of the section of track has not been changed at all. Still flat out right-handed corner here as he comes through, and then this one's so much quicker now, down a few gears, maybe even down just one, but no, goes down into 6th. Could have gained a bit more time there. still pushing the limits. Let's see if we can get a bit of a cheeky slipstream from the Aston Martin ahead. Just about. As we go towards turns 9 and 10 now, what can he do? Chucks it into the left-hander now, down one gear. Just seems a little bit tentative, it must be said, from Troyer. Let's see what he does. He goes into the right-handed section of the circuit now, clips that curve nice. It can unsettle the car, but thankfully for him it's not been a bit of a problem here. Into the long right-handed corner now, people go down into 5th gear, he's stayed in 6th. What about this one here? Into 3rd gear, keeps the wide line there. You see the Aston Martins do like to have a bit more of a tight line coming out of that, but as Troyer comes up towards the line now, what time can he do? Is it going to be in the 17s or is it a 16 to 17 flat? And that's put him into P9 at the moment. Times are very, very close. Gatkowski, he's on a great time at the moment. That was only his banker time as well. Scary to see as we got a purple middle sector for CPI Luke as he invalidates once more in the Alfa Romeo, and that's going to be a massive disappointment for him once more. And then he's got the Alpha Tauri behind him as well, hopefully not in the way. As TF Dirk also invalidated his time. Gatkowski trying to get out of the way of the guys in front. Vaporizer, interesting to see what he can do. He's 2/10 up on his time. This will put him there or thereabouts towards pole position. Great run through the last few corners there. What can he do as he goes towards the final sector now? A few more corners to go. This is where the mind starts to play the tricks on you. He wants to make no mistakes, but of course he's going to be concentrating so hard. Chucks into the right-handed corner now, uses 6th gear, which is higher than most drivers, so let's see what we can do here. 3rd gear as well. Again, goes for that wide line, but goes all the way to the left instantly to get a good exit into the final corner here. Opens up that DRS. Potentially might get a little bit of a slipstream run towards the line now, but can Vaporizer get on provisional pole position as he comes towards the line? Yes, he can. It's a 16.2, great time. Just about beats Gatkowski, who's invalidated his time already. So it's now second punch to NSX Vaporizer, who's gone P1 on a 16.2. As Urpek goes 4th in the Red Bull as well. But what's Igor doing? Interesting to see what he can do in the Mercedes car as well. Down a few gears, and he's going to get a bit of a slipstream, is he, from his teammate? Yes, I think he is. The Mercedes-Benz team helping each other once again, and I'm sure Gatkowski won't want to help him too much, but of course, the team do come first, and he's absolutely giving him a brilliant slipstream as he goes towards turns 9 and 10. I'm sure he'll turn to the left now, get out of the way. Yes, he does. Chucks it in now. Is it a purple middle sector? Yes, it is. It's a brilliant middle sector for Igor. So let's see what he could do. Opens up that DRS. Didn't seem to have the best run through them corners, but of course, that slipstream will definitely help him out. Coming towards the slow part of the lap now, doesn't clog that curb too much. It can unsettle the car, but thankfully for him, he's not done that. Then chucks it into the long right-hander, keeps it in 5th gear, just about keeps the car in check. Into the final few corners now. What type of blind lead pull? Goes to the wider line out, and that's compromised him slightly for this corner, but opens up that DRS now. Can he take pole position back for the Mercedes team as it comes across the line now? It's going to be close, but it's not quite there. It's a 16.3, still behind his teammate and NSX Vaporizer in the Haas, doing everything he needs to do at the moment, as Urpek is either out of fuel. Yes, he is indeed. He's out of fuel, unfortunately, but he's going to get it back to the pits. Talisker into the pit lane as well. Frankis, what can he do? Is he up on his time? He's running out of ERS, and he's down on his time now because he's invalidated, so that'll be a pit lane, I'm sure. Yes, it is. CPI Michel as well. He's invalidated on his time. So like I mentioned before, it is second blood to NSX Vaporizer. As Igor comes on his way back into the pit lane now. There's a 5-second grid penalty there, actually, I've just seen. Interesting to see what might have to happen here. Potentially might need a lobby restart for that 5-place grid penalty for CPI Luke. Not entirely certain what's gone on there. I'm sure we'll soon see. Zio comes back into the pit lane now. Mercedes-Benz very dirty there as well. As the Ferrari comes around the final corner now. Carl, I believe. Yes, it is. It's starting his lap now. So let's see what he can do in the Aston Martin. Of course, Luke as well in the Alfa Romeo. Comes into the first part of the lap now. Well, it's not put a lap time on the board yet. Neither has Carl. Carl, a man who was a great qualifier last season in Season 4. Let's see if he can repeat that today. The Melbourne Street Circuit as we go into the end of the first sector now with Luke. Let's see what he can do. didn't seem to light up the sector times too much in that Alfa Romeo, but nevertheless, to get a time on the board, I'm sure is what he'll be aiming to do either way. Interesting to see what Carl will be doing as well. So let's get him ready to go. Carl as well, 26.7, so not too bad for the man in red. But let's see, of course, what Luke is doing in the Alfa Romeo. Oh, loses the rear end. It's just not a good lap yet again for CPI Luke. But let's see what it's going to be when he comes across the start-finish line now. Final few corners. Comes round now. Opens up that DRS for the final time in the lap. Comes towards the line. What's it going to be? Still going to be towards the top of the leaderboard, surely. No, it's P12 in the end. What about Carl? No, he's not happy with his lap either. He's backed off. So I'm sure he'll be going once more. Yes, he is. Opens up the DRS for one last time. What about Lars as well, of course? Interesting to see what he's doing. 3/10 up currently, apparently, as he comes through now. Oh, almost loses the rear end there of the Williams car. But still, nevertheless, coming to the first sector split now. What time is it going to be? He's down by 500ths of a second, but he should potentially get a good slipstream from his teammate here. Yes, he will once more. He ride on board, and yes, once again, and look at the amount of traffic that's happening here. Unbelievable to see. But thankfully, they all just about get out of the way as we come through now. But he's down by a 10th of a second. I think everyone kind of distracts him slightly there. Will he lose it? Oh, he keeps it just. Opens up the DRS though, but surely he's going to have a massive final sector as Carl retires from the session. He's crashed out. And that's going to be awful way to start the season for him. Let's see what Lars can do. Of course, in P4 at the moment, he's going to need a brilliant final sector to improve on the time that he has. As he comes around the final corner and he spins out. Will he hit the wall? No, he just keeps it out. But like I say, he needed a brilliant final sector, not been able to do that. Hopefully he'll get out of the way just in time. Gatkowski comes towards the end of his lap as well. Now I'm not sure if he's up on his time. Let's see as he comes through now. Final few corners. Of course, he wants to get back on pole position. Of course, Vaporizer took it away from him, who is now on an out lap as well. What can Gatkowski do? Final few corners now. The car looks planted. The car looks quick. Round the final corner. Opens up the DRS. Did lose the rear end a little bit there. Could have cost him a little bit of time. Runs out of ERS as well. Comes over the line now. Not able to improve on his time. And that means that Vaporizer once again, as he starts his lap, is able to put more daylight between him and himself. As Lars, oh, almost into the wall. What is he doing on his in lap as well? That was dangerous for him, as Zorzo in 7th at the moment, up by a 10th of a second. Let's see what he's doing. Almost runs it wide, but invalidates as well. That's him done. What about his sister teammate? What about Michelle coming round to turns 9 and 10 now? It's going to be very close at the end of this to see what he can do. What about Igor as well? He's starting his lap as well, as is Vaporizer. Vaporizer is up on his time in the first sector. And Igor has invalidated, so Gatkowski can't improve. Igor can't improve. And that means no matter what, Vaporizer, unless some brilliant lap comes in from Frankis, who's down by 3/10 of a second at the moment and has a bit of traffic from his... he's into the pit lane. Yeah, so I think it looks like it's going to be Vaporizer, but can he put more daylight between? Anyway, make sure of it. Comes around the final few corners now. He was up in the first sector. The challenges came. The challengers tried to conquer him, but they have not been able to do it in this qualifying session. Round the final corner, just to make sure now, opens up that DRS, loses the rear end slightly, but he goes towards the line now. Will he be able to improve on his time? Get an even lower time in the 16s? Not quite, but that still would have been a time good enough for pole position. And Gatkowski is not going to be happy with what he's seen. Comes into the pits, as does Igor. And when all is said and done, it is Vaporizer who takes the first pole position of the season. Frank is in P4, Talisber in P5 as well, Lars 6th, Peck in 7th, Zorzo in 8th, Michelle in 9th, and then Troje rounds out the top 10 here in Melbourne. So yes, like I say, Vaporizer in P1, Gatkowski P2, Igor P3, Frankis P4, Talisber P5, Lars in 6th, Erpek 7th, Zorzo 8th, Michelle 9th, and Troye in 10th. Then followed by Mick, Luke, Dirk, Walcott in 14th place as well. And as we go further down, we've got Kinksman in 15th, Carl in 16th, Max in 17th, and Twist rounding out the grid in 18th. Of course, like I say, we've got a 5-place grid penalty for Luke. Not entirely certain what's going to be happening with that. If we're going to be going to a different lobby at all, I'm not entirely certain. Let's see what happens though. For now, at the moment, don't think we're going to be changing lobbies, but again, not too certain with what could be going on here, because potentially we do have a lobby restart. Yes, I believe we are getting a restarted lobby here, so let's see what happens with this one. As we've got the lights on now, I do believe, yeah, like I say, everyone has retired from the session, yes, because we are in fact, as you can see, the drivers, they don't care at the moment, but we are restarting, I believe, at the moment. So, like I mentioned, we'll wait for another lobby invite. But of course, at the moment, these things do happen. 5-place grid penalty it was for Luke, which just need to fix at the moment. But of course, Vaporizer was on pole position as we discussed before, and we will get the race underway, I'm sure, sooner rather than later. But for now, like I say, guys, feel free to put in the comments down below who you think is going to win this race. And not only this race, who you think is going to be a great contender for the season, for the championship. Such great drivers in the lobby. So many fast drivers as well, fast people. So interesting to see what's going to be happening with that one. Yes, of course, these things do happen, I'm afraid. It's not to worry. We'll, of course, get it back on sooner rather than later. So, also we've already got some drivers celebrating. Who knows? It might be a McLaren win. You never know. Maybe Walcott does win. But for now, like we mentioned, just getting a lobby restart, and then we'll be back underway. So we're almost there. Just waiting now, of course, for a few more drivers to come back into the lobby. And then we will be back racing. Sorry about the delay, guys. This, of course, does happen sometimes, especially with Codemasters games, but hey, what can you do? So unfortunately, there's pretty much nothing you can do with these fecking things, but nevertheless, we will keep on going. We will find a way. So like I say, guys, just waiting for the lobby to restart again. Of course, I will be back with you. Until then, I'll see you soon. Alright guys, we are back and we are ready to go for the race. Sorry that took so long. These things do happen like I say, but thankfully things are sorted now. All the qualifying session has been sorted. Drivers where they need to be, no penalties for the silly penalties that do get applied. And sometimes I wish you could turn these penalties off, but of course that would be way too easy, wouldn't it, Codemasters? Way too easy. So yeah, like I say, we are back, we are ready, and we are good to go. So let's get something ready to rock and roll here. Just waiting for the drivers now to, of course, pick their tyres and their strategies and so on. Of course, we don't have formation lap here in Flashpoint because we still have some problems with that. You guys might have noticed in some of the different leagues around the world, a lot of the formation laps do cause problems for the drivers. But we don't have such a problem here. So just waiting, like I mentioned, for the drivers to start. First race of the season, all to play for. And it is NSX Vaporizer starting in the pole position slot here in Albert Park. So few more seconds to wait now, and then we will see what happens for the rest of the season now. But initially, just to start, it is here at the Albert Park, so you can see the crowd there on top of the Melbourne building, ready to go. There's some guys inside the pit building, look how excited they are. And here we are, ready to go. It's a new season, new start. It's Vaporizer on pole, followed by the two Mercedes-Benz. Who's going to get the best start off the line now as the lights go out just about now? Vaporizer gets a decent enough start, but at the moment, Gatkowski seems to be making it alongside. Yes, he is. Igor under pressure there from the Alpine around the outside. Then we see an Alfa Romeo. Talisman down the inside. Bit of contact there, potentially. No, thankfully made it through. But the Alpine had to make some evasive action there. Still Vaporizer leading, though, from Gatkowski and Igor. Nothing changes out front. The Alpine in fourth. And then, of course, in fifth place is the Red Bull behind Talisman. And at the moment, there's a bit of battling in the background. Walcott potentially going down the inside. Yes, he does with a few of the drivers. But at the moment, everyone seems to be Noah's Arking it way through. You can see the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri going side by side there as well. Surely they can't do that through there. Oh, it goes wide side, but keeps it on the track just about. But the AlphaTauri trying to go around the outside once more as well. Can he be able to do that through? Doesn't look like he's going to get through. No, he does not in the end, but it is Vaporizer in the lead at the moment, followed by the two Mercedes-Benz. Then the Alpine driver of Frankis. Then we've got Troye going around the outside of Zorzo by the looks of it. Yes, he is. Just got through on the Aston Martin driver. And then it's Mick in the Williams going through into 9 and 10 now. As Walcott comes through, and then we can see, does Max get through on Kingsman? Yes, he does. Oh, a bit wide there from the Red Bull driver. And you can see the Ferrari now is potentially going to go through on the inside of Carl there. Yes, he does. Can he get a double move for it as well? Around the outside, potentially the AlphaTauri surely can't do that. No, he doesn't. We'll try and get in the up and under. No, but the one is Kingsman in that Red Bull. Can he get down the inside? No, thinks better of it in the end. But then the Ferrari still right in the back, hustling the cars in front as Twist goes down the inside of the McLaren of Dirk. Doesn't quite get the move done though. And at the end of it, as Lars comes into the pits, I think he's got a bit of damage already. Vaporizer takes the first spot for the first lap of the season, and at the moment it looks to me, as we see actually, Frankis has got through on Igor. Didn't see that actually. Maybe Igor made a bit of a mistake, but he has gotten through on the inside as we see the Alfa Romeo in the background as well. Talisman down the inside. Oh, bit of contact, doesn't quite get the move done though. Can he go around the outside of the Mercedes driver? Gets pushed slightly wide. Igor gives him the space though, down the inside. He's got the inside line now, thinks better of it in the end. The Red Bull behind as well, that's bunched them all up. Look at that now, Igor with a big train behind him. And of course, with this long back straight coming up now, potentially could be under threat. Could any of these drivers, it must be said. Talisman trying to get on the back of Igor now. You can see the Red Bull directly behind as well, trying to make a bit of a move down the inside, but the drivers thinking better of it in the end, waiting it out at the moment as Carl gets down the inside of one of the drivers as well as we go through turns 9 and 10 now. You can see the Red Bull right behind as Talisman still in P5 at the moment, can't quite get towards Igor. I think made a bit of a mistake as we go through now towards the end of the final sector. Drivers starting to really bunch up at the moment. Let's get the spectator menus on at the moment. You see the drivers, a few on hards and of course a few on softs, on mediums as well. It looks to me at the moment as things settle down, Igor made a bit of a mistake and he has now got the Alfa Romeo in front of him. Oh, as you see in the background, Talisman makes a bit of a mistake there. That again puts the Red Bull behind him on high alert. As Gatkowski's not, as Kingsman gets a 3-second time penalty already. It's big to see that so early in the race. You can see as well, look at the Aston Martin trying to keep the Williams behind. Zorzo with Mick right behind him at the moment. It looks to be everyone's just keeping it nice and smooth at the moment, not trying to make too much inroads into everybody else. See in the background though, you see the Alfa Romeo here on the McLaren. Will he try and get a move? Opens up DRS, but you can just see the straight line speed the McLaren has of Walcott. Seems to be better than anyone else at the moment. And look at this now, you can see the cars really line astern as we go through the pack. But as we mentioned before, it's Vaporizer leading out in front, not able to drop the cars behind. But he's doing everything he needs to do at the moment. Gatkowski as well, not using any of his ERS. He knows from seasons gone, leading now is not the priority. It's about saving the car, saving the tyres, saving the ERS and taking it from there. So let's see what happens as we start lap number 4 here down under. And it looks like Gatkowski is just biding his time at the moment. Frankis as well as Twist gets a fastest lap of the race. Good to see him getting a fastest lap after not the best qualifying at the moment, but you see the Red Bull right behind as well of Erpek as Luke gets the inside of Walcott as well. Did potentially, yes, actually goes around the outside there, so Walcott must have made a bit of a mistake going through the first few corners, and that's allowed the Alfa Romeo through on the inside. But just look at how many cars are so line astern at the moment. It's looking a bit of a DRS train, but of course the race will come to them. Erpek, let's see what he can do. Can he do anything? He's using his ERS now, so potentially trying to go for a move. I think he is doing. Look at this, pulling in on the Alfa Romeo's car, gets another 3-second time penalty, second of the day. Doesn't quite get the move done here, no, but you can see Igor's Vaporizer gets overtaken by Gatkowski in the end. So Gatkowski decided this is the time now is to make the move, as Vaporizer actually makes a bit of a mistake there as well. But the Haas driver gets overtaken, and Gatkowski, I think he realises he's got a bit more speed than Vaporizer at the moment as Kingsman gets another 3-second time penalty. Let's see what happens here as Igor in the sister Mercedes-Benz not making too many inroads on Frankis at the moment, but the car's really bunching up at the moment now. It looks like Erpek is the man who's going to be on the move at the moment. Opens up that DRS, doesn't use any of his deployment. As Twist gets a 3-second time penalty as well. These time penalties are now coming in thick and fast. It's going to cause many issues for the drivers. You see Igor goes wide again, and that's put the Alfa Romeo right on the back of him. And again uses some of his ERS, I think, as Dirk gets 3-second time penalty. See Igor though, not got a lot of energy to play with now. He's used a lot of it in defence, and that has caused him to be stuck in this DRS train now. Like we mentioned before, Vaporizer being overtaken by Gatkowski and this straight 1 lap ago. I think he's just playing a bit of cat and mouse at the moment. He understands he doesn't need to be leading currently, he just needs to be there or thereabouts. Opens up that DRS and you can see, look at the mini-map, how close the entire field is. Anybody could win this Grand Prix at the moment. You can see though, Vaporizer coming off the throttle ever so slightly at the end of 9 and 10. So he doesn't want to get too close to the car in front. See the cars behind us, look how close everyone is at the moment. I mean, Max in 15th place is not too far away off the race lead at the moment. And of course got these guys fighting behind, and of course Lars did have to come into the pit lane. He'll be hoping for a safety car, I'm sure. But it's Gatkowski leading at the moment, lap 5, as we're about to start lap number 6 here down under. See the entire field coming through now. Starting lap number 6 here at the Australian Grand Prix circuit. Into turn 1 and 2 we go. Great few corners there. And Vaporizer once again on the back of Gatkowski. Don't think he's going to make a move anytime soon though. He's just a bit too far back. Doesn't want to cause too many issues there. As Michelle gets a 3-second time penalty as well, followed again by Kingsman, another penalty. And we've got Twist actually battling it out. Oh, as he almost loses it, and that's allowed the McLaren down the inside again. I think it has almost, yes it is, a bit more of contact. But the AlphaTauri down the inside, and he does get the move done. Not entirely sure what happened there, but will Walcott potentially try and get another move done as we go through the long right-handed corner now onto the DRS straight. He's got his teammate behind him who's seemingly using quite a bit of his deployment now. Tries to go through and does so. He's going to get a bit of slipstream from the AlphaTauri in front. Can he make it 2 for 1? Goes around the outside. I think he's going to be able to, surely. Dirk round the outside. Can he do it? Yes, he can. What a brilliant double move there from the McLaren driver. And it's meant that in 2 corners, the McLaren of Walcott has lost 2 positions. But let's see now, will the AlphaTauri potentially try and get a move down the inside? Doesn't think he can do it, but the car's behind is doing. Look at that, the AlphaTauri. Oh, it's a bit of contact, and Max loses it. and it's allowed Carl to get through on the inside. Bit of bumping and barging towards the back of the field now. These guys are just losing too much time because of it. You see them starting to fall off the back of the pack now. There's a few more moves, a few more people trying to get through, as Talisber's right on the back now of Igor. You can see how close the cars are now, as well as Vaporizer actually got back into P1. As we've got a retirement from the session. Will that be a safety car? No, that's actually in the pit lane. But yes, we missed it once more. Vaporizer retakes the race lead now. I think these guys are understanding it's just part of the game. Gatkowski not using any of his ERS, just doing what he can to stick by at the moment. As we've got Dirk, he's actually spun out after all the good work he did. He's now spun out the car. And who else is out as well? It's Walcott as well. So if the two McLarens made contact, potentially they have done, and that would be a massive problem if that's the case, as Gatkowski gets the lead once more. The driver's just doing a bit of cat and mouse like we mentioned at the moment. Frankis just waiting in the wings as well in case something happens between these two, and Igor in fourth, of course Talisber in fifth, and then Erpek in sixth, Troje, Zorzo, Mick and Luke as well ending the top 10 there, as Kingsman goes through on the inside. Oh, that could have ended really badly, but thankfully it has not. Kingsman though, can he potentially open up that DRS now and get through? No, he's actually got no DRS at the moment. It's actually the McLaren. The McLaren does a very late move down the inside there, and that's put the Red Bull on the back foot. What's going on here with these three? Very surprising to see a Red Bull and two McLarens fighting towards the back of the field, of course. That's usually the front of the field in Formula 1 currently. But we can see here the battle that's going on between these two, as the McLaren of Walcott does come into the pit. Will we see the Red Bull potentially try and get a move down the inside? Potentially. Will the McLaren defend? No, the Red Bull actually comes off the throttle ever so slightly. Don't want to get too much back. No, as he almost loses it. But he holds on just as the cars in front start to battle it out once more. Troje as well in P7. Kingsman does get down the inside in the end of Dirk, but then Dirk fighting back. There's a bit of a dive bomb there from the Red Bull driver as Michelle leaves the session after DNFing in the pit lane, of course. You can see the drivers, look how close they are now. First, second, third, fourth, starting to slightly pull away now. As we've got another yellow flag in set 2, I think it's for McLaren once more. Is it Dirk again as he spun out? Yes, I think he did. But he's back on at the moment as Gatkowski still leads from Vaporizer, Frankis and Igor as well, who's got Talisber right behind, but he is on the warpath now. Is he going to potentially try and get a move on the Alpine driver back for P3? Could potentially see that happening sooner rather than later. Is about to start lap number 9 now for these guys. Who's going to be the first one to blink? Who's going to be the first to pit? One person who is in a good spot, it must be said, is actually Troje. He could get a very good undercut on these guys when he boxes from the medium tyres onto the hards. In behind as well, we've got Luke on the back of the Williams driver here. Oh, as he almost loses it once more. So close to getting in the wall, but thankfully holds it as Max gets a 3-second time penalty as well. It was very close to being curtains there for the Alfa Romeo driver, but thankfully he kept it there. Is able to regroup. We've got the Williams in front as well, and of course Zorzo in 8th as well, trying to follow Troje. But like I mentioned, Troje, yes, he's not seemingly got the pace at the moment. Oh, as he almost loses it again, just needs to keep it on the track. That's going to put the Aston Martin right on him, I'm sure. But he will get a brilliant undercut on these guys. He's got no ERS to play with though. He needs to be careful, because if he's too busy focusing on fighting the cars behind, he's going to have a problem with the guys in front. As Vaporizer takes the lead once more from Gatkowski, we can see there. And Troje, as I speak, he went wide there, gets a 3-second time penalty. Now the Aston Martin's going to go down the inside of him. Yes, he is. Into the biggest overtaking spot on the circuit. Side-by-side action between these drivers. He's fighting way too much. And that 3-second time penalty could come back to haunt him in that Ferrari. But it's a good move in the end from Zorzo in the Aston Martin. Erpek in 6th, followed by Telesvar in 5th, and of course Igor in 4th. 3rd is Frankis, Gatkowski in 2nd, and Vaporizer takes the lead once more. But just look at the top 6, separated by absolutely nothing here on lap number 10. Opens up the DRS, does Gatkowski, and of course all the cars behind. Gatkowski's still not using his ERS. I think he understands again Doesn't really need to, because he's got the DRS, and that puts him back into the race lead once more in the Mercedes-Benz, and he is through. As you see the cars behind, look how close they're getting to each other now. Igor right on the back of Frankis, and of course Talisman right on the back of him, and Igor makes a bit of a mistake, and that's going to put the Alfa Romeo surely, but then also the Red Bull potentially could put a move on him as well. They think better of it. Red Bull trying to go around the outside. Oh, it's Igor, and he hits Igor, doesn't quite get the move done. Thankfully doesn't push Igor off the track, but the Red Bull there came in very hot of Erpek. Thankfully didn't cause any issues in the end. Hopefully didn't cause any damage for either driver as well. Well, that was something that did not need to happen, but thankfully for Igor, he stays in P4, and of course Talisba stays in P5. I think there was a bit of a squeeze there from Talisba in the Alfa Romeo, but of course outbroke himself as well in that Red Bull. Thankfully nobody has been hurt, and they do live to fight another day, but potentially Erpek does have some damage on that Red Bull. Hopefully not for his sake, but we'll soon see as Gatkowski, like I say, takes the lead once more as Dirk gets another 3-second time penalty. And this is the difference as Troye now in P10 loses more positions as the car just doesn't seem to be doing what he wants it to do now, as Kingsman gets another 3-second time penalty. When we will see Troje into the pits though, as Carl gets through, as we got yes, is that going to be a safety car potentially? It could be. We got Max in the wall. What is he doing at the moment? Is he able to get back on the circuit? Yes, he is. No safety car at the moment. Interesting. I thought we'd definitely see that as he goes off, and yeah, he's definitely got no front wing now because he's hardly going through, and he does have a full front wing, so I'm not entirely certain what's going on with the car there, but he's back on the circuit. Must have lost it in P15, and the two McLarens at the back of the field in 16 and 17. Vaporizer in P1 again, Gatkowski in P2, Frankis and Igor holding up the podium positions. But like we say, Gatkowski and Vaporizer just playing the long game at the moment. I think both of them understand they have a bit of an agreement at the moment. They can help each other just by pulling each other further forward. It's got Frankis again in P3, Igor P4, Talisba P5, Erpek in P6, Mick in P7, Zorzo in 8th, Luke in 9th, and Troje rounding out that top 10. Like I say, interested to see when he will pit. Twist as well, interested to see when he'll pit. At the moment, Troje, the man on the mediums, of course, he can get a brilliant undercut on these guys in front, but he does have that 3-second time penalty, which is going to be causing him so many issues. Probably expect to see him around lap 13 to 14 on those medium tyres. As Gatkowski once more gets the race lead. You can just see how close the field are. It just goes to show that this is going to be such a close season for the guys in Flashpoint Racing League here. See Gatkowski in P1 holding the fort at the moment. Great helicopter cam just to show how close the cars are. As we see one of the McLarens, I think, just come out the pit lane. Yes, he did. Crossed over the pit lane exit. Hopefully we don't see much of that, because you definitely cannot do that here in Flashpoint. You see Igor right on the back of the Alpine now as well. When's he deciding to pull the trigger? As we've got Carl into the pits as well. He's going to get a bit of undercut on the cars in front. He puts on the medium tyres very early for that. He's going to be struggling towards the end of the race, but of course he wants a big undercut, I think, on the cars in front. We've got another yellow flag. Is it for the McLaren in front? Yes, it is. Or Dirk, I believe it is. Yes, not entirely certain what he's doing at the moment. Hopefully it's not something silly. I think he's just getting out of the way, actually, thankfully. Yeah, he's just getting out of the way. That's good to see. Just out of the way of all the drivers now. Not causing any issues. It's good to see. He's not had the race he wanted. But like I say, he's still getting out of the way of everyone, which is great to see. As we see, though, look at the drivers fighting now. You see Vaporizer trying to go around the outside of Gatkowski. Just about gets the move done. Yes, into the long right-handed corner around the outside. Is that because he's decided this is the moment now? He needs to get away from this group. Good move in the end. Gatkowski still keeps P2. And then, of course, Frankis in P3. Igor in P4. Still not able to get through on the Alpine driver. And then, of course, Talisba in P5. And then Erpek in P6. Had a bit of contact, those two, of course, earlier on, a few laps ago. Thankfully for them, didn't cause any issues. Igor, what is he going to be able to do? Can he get through? No, he's lost it again a bit of time. Runs a bit wide. That's going to put Talisman right in the back of him. Still not using any of his ERS though. One man who's definitely not using his ERS is Gatkowski, 100% there. And he's right on the rear end of Vaporizer, so he must be said, unless Vaporizer gets a brilliant undercut, you expect to see Gatkowski pull the trigger in a moment and use what he has. As he go through now, Dirk another 3-second time penalty, Walcott another 3-second time penalty. Not sure what these McLaren drivers are doing. I think one of them's coming to the pit lane though to potentially DNF. Let's see if Gatkowski pulls the move. Yes, once again. Gets the move done, as we see Erpek actually battling out with Talisber as well. Can he potentially go down the inside into 9 and 10? Yes, what a move from the Red Bull driver. Gets through. Can he get a good exit? Talisber actually gets a better one at the moment, and that's put him right on the back of the Red Bull driver. Thinks better of it in the end though. Will he try and get a move down the inside? Thinks about it. Doesn't quite have the speed to do so, but it's a great move in the end from Erpek, who gets himself up into P5. Now right on the back of the Mercedes-Benz of Igor into the top 5, as Carl gets through on the inside as well of Lars. Let's see if anybody pits now. Don't think anybody is doing. No, they are not. Oh, yes, they are. It's actually Frankis into the pit lane. Let's see where he comes out, of course. Let's see if anyone makes any moves as well. But it is, in the end, Frankis who's going to be pulling the trigger first. You see a few of the drivers as well pitting. But the Alpine driver comes into the pits, comes out into the circuit. And let's see where he is able to come out now. Can he get out in P8? Yes, he does. Luke is still in 7th, of course, Mick in P6, but Frank is now going to need a brilliant few outlaps if he's going to get ahead of the cars in front, which of course he definitely can do. Gatkowski now, is he using any of his ERS? No, he is not. He's still waiting a few more laps, I think. He's starting to use it now, though. As you can see, he's gunning it away, and you can see from there, Vaporizer is nowhere to be seen, because Gatkowski's starting to realise this is the moment now, and he needs to start using some of his energy. Igor now up into P3, of course, whilst they fight. You can see Vaporizer as well, almost getting through on the inside, not quite able to do it though. What will he be able to do as he go through now? Opens up his DRS and uses a lot of deployment as well. Will he try and get the move down the inside? Yes, he does. Back through into P1 at the moment, and whilst these drivers fight, that's going to allow, of course, Frankis to get a good undercut on them. And of course, a man who's going to be having a problem here is Igor, who's going to have to queue behind his teammate or wait another lap. So he's going to have to surely wait another lap if Gatkowski comes into the pit this lap. No, Gatkowski stays out, but Igor is the one who comes into the pits. So let's say where these drivers come out. Vaporizer, the man who's just taken the lead back. It's going to have to be a brilliant in-lap from Gatkowski if he wants to stay in the lead of the race. Let's see, though, as Talisber into the pits as well. Vaporizer into the pits. Takes his tyres off, puts them on, and Igor back out behind as well. But let's see where Frankis is, and it looks to me like he's going to have the undercut on all of it. It's going to be very tight, but he's going to have the undercut, and he just about does. Does it? He goes around the outside. Oh, it's almost bit of contact, but he gets it done. The undercut just about works for Frankis. He's going to have one lap older tyres, but it's a brilliant undercut in the end, and he's going to be in provisional P1 if Gatkowski can't get a good in-lap there. And Vaporizer almost kept it from Frankis, but it had to back out in the end because he did not want any contact. I think Frankis just basically sent it and understood that it'd be Vaporizer who'd have to get out of it. Does in the end. So let's see what type of pace Frankis has now. Only 43% ERS to play with, but that's not much less than the other drivers apart from Gatkowski. Let's see what he can do as Erpek. Gets a 3-second time penalty as well. Oh, that's not good to see. But he is pulling right onto the back now of Gatkowski. He's going to use him as much as he can as Carl gets through on the inside as well of Troye. Teammates swap places in the end. Let's see now as Luke is still in P3. Almost loses it actually. Let's see if Gatkowski comes into the pits. Yes, he does, as does Erpek. So let's see where these drivers come out. Surely you must say that they're going to be coming out behind that group of cars with, of course, much fresher tyres though. So let's see what these drivers can do. Gatkowski puts on the medium tyres out easily enough. Erpek though, I thought it took a bit more time, but thankfully he is out just behind there. Luke out as well. Frankis, let's see what he can do, and it's going to be so much easier for them. Yes, it is. And the pack is coming out now, but it's Vaporizer coming through on the inside. Will the Mercedes switch positions? Yes, they do. Igor is through on the inside. And when all is said and done, Frankis is now in P1 with Vaporizer, Igor and Gatkowski in P4. Erpek keeps his P5 at the moment. There's Talisber in P11, so I think he made a bit of a mistake actually, Talisber, because he's quite a far way behind, isn't he? Did miss that, but he's definitely made a bit of a mistake. Erpek in P5, Gatkowski 4th, Igor swaps the Mercedes-Benz around, and he's up into P3, Vaporizer in P2 in the Haas, and of course Frankis now the race leader in P1 after that one-lap undercut, but of course that will cause him issues later on, and of course he does not have a lot of ERS played, but neither does a lot of the drivers at the moment. So I'm sure Frankis is going to do everything he can to conserve the energy. Let's see what he can do in that Alpine car. Because at the moment, the cars are slowly but surely pulling him in. Of course, I'm sure he's not expecting to drive off into the distance, but he's going to want to see what he can do. Locks up the wheels slightly. It looks to be that Frankis doesn't quite have the pace to keep the cars behind at the moment, but of course he's not using everything he has, and of course he does not have DRS on any car in front, so it'll be interesting to see how long he can hold these cars behind, or really how Vaporizer and Igor play it. Because the way we usually see things happening, of course, is everybody slowing the pace down, saving what they have, and then of course using it all in the last few laps of the Grand Prix. As Lars gets a move done, I believe, no actually, excuse me, Kingsman actually comes into the pit lane. But like I mentioned, at the moment, it's the top four I really want to look at because none of them have penalties. Erpek does have a penalty now. So when all is said and done, he will be at least 3 seconds behind. Let's see if Vaporizer really pulls him in now, and I think he is doing. Look at that, you can see Vaporizer really pulling in the car. Yes, he does. Goes around the outside now and is able to retake the lead here. And Frankis is now going to be under pressure, I'm sure, from Igor in the Mercedes-Benz. And yes, he's trying to defend as much as he can. You can see there as he goes through the inside now. Igor trying to get through, can't quite make the move. Bit of a double move there from the Alpine, but I think it was just about okay. Frankis is not willing to let the Mercedes-Benz through, and this is just going to be helping Vaporizer, of course, get away in front. Frankis, though, will have DRS to play with, and hopefully for his sake can keep just behind Vaporizer. But you see the two Mercedes-Benz now really starting to fight and get on the battle of the back of the Alpine car. As we go through turn 1 now and turn 2, Gatkowski, of course, will be bringing the fact that he had to pit a lap later. Frankis is now right back again with the Vaporizer, so I think the initial move from Vaporizer was a good one. And of course Frankis is now back in the fight, back controlled, and doesn't have the Mercedes-Benz fighting him too much at the moment. As we've got a yellow flag in sector 1, I think is it one of the Alpines, I believe? Yes, actually, I think it's Michelle's just come out of the pits. Excuse me, no, actually Lars, I do apologise. But we're alright at the moment. Vaporizer still in P1 though, Frank is P2, and look at that, the top four absolutely line astern at the moment. And let's see, are we going to get Igor potentially going for a move actually on the Alpine driver now? Goes towards the outside, will he make the move down the inside? No, he thinks better of it in the end. It was a very close to the move being done there, but of course we've got 10 laps to go after this one. So let's see what happens now in the final stages of the first race of the season. If anything else is like this season, it would be incredible to watch. Going to have so many drivers fighting for wins, fighting for victories, fighting for the championship. You can see Igor now right on the back, of course, of Frankis, not quite able to do anything with it at the moment. But look at how much energy Gatkowski has. He's so brilliant at keeping his energy stored. You'll notice that, especially in last season as well, he always had energy in reserves compared to anybody else. He just understands how to work the car, how to work the track and save as much energy as possible. And that has caused him, look, he's basically got a full battery, whereas the cars in front have got almost under a third at this point. So when Gatkowski pulls the trigger, he's going to have everything he needs at his disposal to get back into P1. And he's actually starting to use it now. Is he going to try and get a move on his teammate? Yes, he is. He goes down the inside, uses the slipstream from the Alpine, and just look at the straight line speed he's got. He's already through on his teammate. Will he potentially try and get a move on the Alpine driver as well? I don't think he's going to have the straight line speed to do it, but Igor had no way to defend there. Oh, it's a bit of contact in between, because the Alpine hits the back of Vaporizer, and that meant that Gatkowski hit the back of him as well. Hopefully there's no damage for them, but that's put Igor right on the back of him again. Will he potentially try and get a move down the inside? I think he's going to go for it. No, he does not in the end. But once again, Frankis basically pushed Vaporizer through the corner, and that really took Gatkowski off guard. Don't think there was any foul play there from anybody involved, but it was a really weird one to see. Thankfully, it looks like there's no damage on any of the cars either. So we're back to square one once again, but again, Gatkowski using everything he has now because he has all the spare energy in the world. Will he potentially try and get a move down the inside of turn 1? Don't think he's going to be doing it. Think he decides to stay in P3. Yes, he does. Will he try and get a move, though, into turn 3 here? Yes, he's using his ERS now. Is he going to try and go down the outside? Yes, he's going to have to, because Frankis is on the inside, and that's going to cause a side-by-side action. Can he get through? Yes, he does. What a move from Gatkowski. And once again, the man who looks set for pole position until he invalidated his times. And, of course, Vaporizer had a brilliant, brilliant lap. has got back up into P2, and we've got another yellow flag in middle sector. Hopefully there's no safety car there. Looks like Lars once again, yes, he's back going again, but Gatkowski once again back up into P2 at the moment, as Kingsman gets another 3-second time penalty. What about the cars in front? Yes, I think actually Gatkowski potentially trying to go around the outside of Vaporizer. Can he get the move done? Yes, he does it to P1. What a move from Gatkowski, from 4th to 1st in just over a lap. What a lap from that man. And we see Igor as well, he'll be potentially going around the outside. Oh, we can't quite do it in the end. As we see Igor, will he try and get a move down the inside? I don't think he's able to do it in the end. No, he's not. Not quite there. You see the top 4 now starting to split up ever so slightly. And Frankis in P3 really was a bit of a cork in the bottle for the drivers behind. As you can see, Gatkowski now in P1 and is really trying to get away a bit, I think, from the cars behind. Usually so cool, calm and collected, and you've seen it yet again in this Grand Prix. Takes his time, does the Mercedes driver. Does what he can to save his energy, and it just shows saving energy is massive, because he's now got into P1 and has more energy than anybody else to use. 3rd and 4th are really struggling, but Erpek right on the back of him now as well. Of course, that 3-second time penalty is going to be massive for Erpek. Will he potentially try and get a move on the Mercedes-Benz driver? No, thinks better of it in the end. Doesn't really have the speed to do so. Still right on the back of him once more. Let's see how many penalties actually everyone's got now. So you can see there's a few 3-second penalties, and he got Kingsman on 18 seconds. Terrible penalties for him. Look at this now. Erpek is not waiting around. He goes down the inside. Is he able to get the move done? Igor gives him the room. Doesn't quite get the move done though, but of course going to get a much better exit than Igor at the moment. Will he be side by side going towards turn 1? He will try and get it, but Igor of course gets the slipstream from the Alpine in front. Is he able to get down the inside? No, he isn't. Oh, but he does hit the back of him. That pushes Igor wide, and Vaporizer gets a 3-second time penalty. That is massive as well for the Grand Prix. That's given Gatkowski a brilliant amount of breathing room. But Erpek as well, trying to get down the inside of the Mercedes, can't quite do it. But Vaporizer makes a crucial error and is now got a 3-second time penalty, which is not only going to gift the race win to Gatkowski or somebody else, but also it's going to push him off the podium if nobody else gets another penalty. So Vaporizer is going to need to do everything he can now to get back through. As we can see yet again, Igor on the defensive as Erpek tries to get a move on the inside. He's got no ERS to play with. He's absolutely throwing the kitchen sink and then some at the Mercedes-Benz driver. Isn't quite able to get through though. Can see though, of course, that Igor was starting to flash as well. Will he get a better exit and potentially try and get a move down the inside again as Walcott gets another 5-second time penalty, speeding in the pit lane? Don't think he's going to be able to get through. No, he does not. At the moment, like we mentioned, with Vaporizer getting that 3-second time penalty, has really handed the victory, it must seem like, to Gatkowski's around the final corner. We're about to go. You just see Igor. Erpek has a brilliant amount of speed on that Red Bull, but he's just not really been able to put it together today. Up in P5, of course, has that 3-second time penalty, which is going to cause him a lot of problems if Luke stays within that 3 seconds that he is. But he's going to want to get some moves done on circuit now to show that you have the speed for a race victory. We've got once again Walcott just making his way around the circuit, about to be lapped once more. Tyler gets a 3-second time penalty as well. He was in P5 at one point, but he's made a mistake and down in P11 and won't get any points scored from there. Once more, let's see what Vaporizer is doing. Is he planning on getting an overtake done? Potentially on the Mercedes-Benz driver. Of course, Gatkowski will now know, of course, as well, that he doesn't really need to fight much because of the penalty that Vaporizer's got. But of course, Gatkowski gets the DRS from the lapped car of Walcott. And once more, you can see there, Walcott not getting out of the way yet, is doing now. Gets through on the inside. Slows the car down, but at the moment, like we mentioned, with that 3-second time penalty for Vaporizer, that's really gifted the win, it seems like, to Gatkowski, and of course the 2nd and 3rd place to Frankis and Igor at the moment. Yet again, he's still fighting, as are Zorzo. Look at the four of these drivers here. Zorzo down the inside, and then of course the two Ferraris battling out with an Alfa Romeo. No wonder Talisman got a 3-second time penalty. He's being bumped and barged off the circuit everywhere. But with that said, the two Ferraris trying to go around the outside now of the Alfa Romeo. Can they do it? Of course, all Ferrari power have got the move done. It looks like at the moment Kingsman has another 3-second time penalty, but Talisman can't really defend this one. He's not got any energy to use. Will he potentially trying around the outside of the Ferrari? Surely he can't do that. No, there's a bit of contact. Thankfully, nobody goes into the wall. But that was never going to end well for Talisman. Carl in P9, excuse me, P10, and then Troje in P9, and Zorzo up into P8 in the end. Like we mentioned, this is the battle we're looking out for at the moment. Vaporizer, will he try and get a move on Gatkowski? I think it will be this lap that he tries to do it. Yes, it is around the outside. Can he get the move done on the Mercedes-Benz driver? Yes, just about around the outside. Great in the end. Gatkowski didn't fight it too much, of course, though. Let's see what Frankis can do, though. Will he try and get through on the Mercedes-Benz driver? Of course, this is basically for the race victory. Let's not forget. As we see the Red Bull in the background trying to go down the inside. Is there a bit of contact? Not quite. Just about misses him. But that's put Eagle right out of contention now, because once again, Erpek with that 3-second time penalty goes for a dive bomb, doesn't quite get it done. And that's cost them both, really. They're now dropped off the back of the field. They need to be careful, because otherwise if they drop 3 seconds, Vaporizer will not be within their sights. Gatkowski once more in the train and has all the energy to play with, so you must think that he is really in the pound seat to win this one, unless he makes a mistake and gets some sort of penalty or spins the car. With all the energy he's got, he's just taking his time, not doing anything silly. He knows what he needs to do. Erpek once more in P5 went for that dive bomb, didn't quite get it done. It was a bit reckless in the end, it must be said, but Frankis as well, brilliant race from him. Get a great undercut in the Alpine, but of course race is not over yet. Got 3 laps after this one to contest. But at the moment it's Gatkowski in the pound seat. He's got the DRS to play with, he's got all the energy in the world, an entirely full battery. Will he potentially try and get a move and get this done on track? Thinks better of it this time, I think. Yes, he does. Doesn't want to cause any unnecessary contact between the drivers. But of course he needs to keep one watchful eye on Frankis as well behind. Igor slowly trying to come back through as Carl gets through on Zorzo as well. As Zorzo makes a bit of an error, I believe. Carl through in that Ferrari car. Igor slowly coming back to the back of this pack as well. I'm sure the best he can only hope for really is second place if he can get past Frankis, because like I say, Gatkowski really in that pound seat now with the energy that he's got. Incredible amount of battery power he's got left. You'll see him dump it all on the final lap. He always does it, and it works for him brilliantly every single time. Frankis in P3, he's going to do everything he can. Erpek is another 3-second time penalty, and that's going to cost him P5 as well at the moment, and P6. It seems as Mick is now right on the back of Luke in the Alfa Romeo, fighting it out for what is 6th place on circuit, but of course with the penalties that Mick has got, it won't be that. See as well as Kings gets yet again another 3-second time penalty. Coming through now onto the long straight. You see, look at the amount of drivers in the field who've got penalties now. Only 4 don't, and they're going to be the drivers who really benefit from it. It just goes to show not getting penalties, driving cleanly is the way to go, as Carl gets another 3-second time penalty as well. Erpek starting to fall off the back of this pack now as well. Will we potentially see Frankish trying to get a move on the Mercedes-Benz car? But surely if Gatkowski even sniffs Frankish trying to come down the inside or around the outside, he's going to just dump all the energy. And I'm sure he's going to do everything he needs to. Look at that, an entirely full batch. Oh, as you see, the Red Bull of Erpek almost loses it. Such a scruffy race from him in the end, but he keeps it again on the circuit. Vaporizer leading at the moment, but of course has that 3-second time penalty. Gatkowski with the DRS, of course. And you've got Frankis as well, and Igor right behind him in that Mercedes. Will you see Frankish try and go for broke here against the Mercedes of Gatkowski? You doubt it, but you never know in league racing. Usually the things you don't expect are the only things that happen here, especially in Flashpoint Racing League. Brilliant race so far for the fight out the front, but like I say, it looks like Gatkowski has this one tied up, and Vaporizer, he's not even going to be in the top 4 at this point. Actually, I think he will actually. Yes, Gatkowski takes the lead on the road, and that surely will be the race winning move. He wanted to win it on circuit, and he has done it here in Albert Park, unless he makes an error now, because he's got all the energy in the world and he just pulls away from the cars. And like I mentioned, it looks like it's just a bit of a battle for second place now at the moment. Will we see Igor potentially try and get a move on Frankis, or will we see yet again Erpek trying to make some sort of dive bomb to get through on the inside, even though he's got penalties? He wants to get moves done on the circuit. He wants to excite the crowd, which he definitely has been doing with some of the moves he's been pulling today. Great racing, really, as he opens up the DRS. Does Igor on the back of Frankis at the moment. Of course, got a bit more ERS to play with. This is where we'll see it all get dumped now. Vaporizer and Gatkowski will start to dump. There we go. Dumps all of it now, as does Vaporizer. And let's see what happens here between these drivers. So the two at the front starting to check out really on the final lap of the race, but it's Gatkowski who's going to be in the pound seat with that 3-second time penalty for Vaporizer. It's going to be a brilliant first race of the season for him, the pole position sitter in P2, but he's not going to keep that with the penalty applied. Frankis in P3, will he just about get DRS from the cars in front? Yes, he does, but of course, let's see now what Igor does. Is he able to get a move done? You can see him flashing in front. Is he able to go around the outside? And I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I think it's going to be a move into turns 11 and 12. Yes, just doesn't quite have the ability to do it. His Vaporizer pushed onto the back of Gatkowski at the moment. But looking at it now, what is Igor going to be able to do? Is he going to be able to get a move down the inside? I think he's going to try and go for it. As we see Vaporizer out front as well, trying to get a move on Gatkowski around the outside potentially for the Mercedes driver. Not able to do it. Neither is NSX Vaporizer. Will we see any more battling? Yes, Frankis and Igor into the final few corners now. Will Igor try and get a move down the inside? Doesn't quite have the speed to do it. Into the final corner we go now, and it's going to be Gatkowski. What a way to start the season. A brilliant controlled race from him. Wins in Albert Park. Vaporizer takes second, and Frankis with a brilliant race from him takes third on the road. But of course, with penalties applied, it is Vaporizer in P4, and the podium positions are Gatkowski in P1, Frankis P2, and Igor P3. And with all the trials and tribulations for Erpek, takes P6 in the end, with Luke in P5, Mick in P7, Zorzo in 8th, Troje 9th, and of course Talisba had a great start of the race. He rounds out the top 10 though, after making what was a bit of an error there. Cal gets 11th in the end when penalties are applied, Twist in 12th, and then we're waiting for Kingsman, who yet again gets another 3-second time penalty, and of course Walcott as well. He's finished a few laps down, but Kingsman, final man on the circuit. Great race in the end, brilliantly controlled by Gatkowski, like I say. Frankis did everything he could with that undercut strategy and got P2 in the end for it, so a great decision to undercut the rest of the drivers. And then Igor in the Mercedes-Benz runs the final podium position. And in the end, when Kingsman comes over the line now, we'll see it is Gatkowski who takes the victory, followed by Frankis, and of course Igor in the sister Mercedes-Benz. Great day for Mercedes-Benz, and a great day in the end for us, really. Brilliant driving all around. Carl gets driver of the day. Can't say I agree with that one, I must admit, but for me, I must say, I think driver of the day, it seems boring, but it has to be this man, Gatkowski. I mean, what do you say? Incredibly controlled race. We've seen it a few times around, of course, in Season 4. When he controls the race, he really controls the race. Knows how to save his energy. When we saw it in points of the race there, where he had 40, 50, sometimes even 60% more energy than some of the drivers around him, and that's really paid dividends in the end, because when he needed to, he got the overtakes done with that energy, and he drove away into the distance. And it's a brilliant start for him. It's a brilliant start for the Mercedes team as well. A first and a third, I'm sure they'll be happy with that. James Allison there on the podium as well. He looks very happy with that. And like we say, it is Gatkowski in P1, Frankis in P2 in the end, and then of course Igor rounding out the Mercedes-Benz podium in P3. Vaporizer in 4th, of course, he will be ruining that penalty. Lost really a second position, and really what could have been, he might have been fighting for the win really, of course, without that penalty. But P4 in the end, Luke in P5, Erpek in 6th, some brilliant overtakes, some exuberant overtakes as well in that Red Bull, but still gets P6 in the end with the penalties. Mick as well in P7, great result in the end from 11th to get to P7. Of course, Luke not understated as well in P5 from 12th on the grid. Zorzo in 8th, Talisman in 9th, and of course Carl rounds out the top 10 to get a point in 10th place. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. What a brilliant way to start the season. I think we have a lot more to come in the end. But for now, it has been me, Oxide Nova. What a brilliant way to start the season. It's Gatkowski who starts the season the way he wants to carry on, getting that victory, and leading the championship for now. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time out at the brilliant Imola circuit. See you soon.